Hello, everybody. It's the Sean Show, Season 2, Episode 23. A little bit of different time today. I've got the freedom to do a better placed show for our US viewers. Basically, this is going to be a short one today. I only have a couple of slides from the graphics team. I was on holiday, which is why there was a delay in the show. The divisional round was absolutely wild, though. So let's do a quick recap of it. Okay, so we had the Bills versus the Broncos on Sunday, as well as the 49ers versus the Seahawks. Bills-Broncos obviously went to overtime. A couple of questionable calls at the end there. I don't think they were questionable, these pass interference calls. I think they got them both right. I think they got the interception call right as well. It was a good game to watch. I'm glad the refs didn't screw the pooch for anybody, so to speak. Broncos move on. As everybody has heard as well, Jarrett Stidham is the starter for the Broncos going into the AFC Championship game as Bo Nix broke his ankle. So he is out. I believe he's already had surgery or is planning to go into it very soon. Now, a little bit on Jarrett Stidham. I don't know too much about him. I've only heard a little bit of conversation around him. Apparently, he is a bit of a baller, but the last time he did play in the NFL was not a great outing, honestly. But we'll see what he can do. We'll see what he can do with this Sean Payton offense. I don't believe he's played an NFL game as Sean Payton as the head coach, so we'll see how he goes. 49ers Seahawks. The Seahawks absolutely dominated the Niners. It was insane to watch. The Niners, I think they had slightly less yardage. A lot less time of possession, so they just could not get into the end zone. 2 field goals for them. The Seattle Seahawks, though, and when I mean dominated, I mean absolutely dominated. They were +3 in the turnover battle, but towards the end of the game there, you could see the will of the Niners break. There was this one particular run where I think it was Kenneth Walker. Or I'm pretty sure it was Kenneth Walker. He was not getting too many yards off a rush, and the whole O-line just bull rushed the pack and just moved the pile. So really good to see. At that point, obviously the Niners couldn't come back with that score, but yeah, the Seahawks really just nailing them down. It wasn't really much of a surprise, to be honest. The last game of the regular season, the Seahawks did absolutely crush the 49ers. So, you know, just rolling on with business, really, with the Seattle Seahawks. So, moving on, we have the Texans-Patriots, another one of a kind of close game. The Patriots did outlast the Texans, and they did make Stroud extremely uncomfortable. It's brought into a lot of question if Stroud is the actual guy in Houston, so we'll see what goes on there. But the Patriots do move on to take on the Broncos in Denver, and also to see what Jarrett Stidham is all about. I personally think that the Patriots will make it through to the playoffs. The NFC side is a little bit different. So, Rams-Bears, another OT banger, 4th down touchdown with 20 seconds left on the clock by Caleb Williams was absolute cinema. This Bears team is for real. We'll see how they go next year. There is typically a slump in 1, big rookie quarterback play, and 2, big offensive coordinator or big head coaching changes. We'll see how it goes in the Ben Johnson era, but things look pretty strong there. Now, when we talk about the NFC Championship game, Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams, despite the Seahawks absolutely dominating the 49ers, I think the last time these two teams met, I think LA maybe won. Stafford has had some of his best games in his career against the Seattle Seahawks, so we'll see what happens in this matchup. This one could go either way. I'll have to wait until we have further developments in terms of news on the weather, the full participants and things like that coming up into the game, but we will cover that before the championship round begins. That's right, we are having another show this week. Now let's move on. We're talking about some different stuff. So, as you can see, there are two head coaches who are first-year head coaches, essentially in their systems. We've got Mike McDonald, who is absolutely balling with the Seahawks team. He is a rookie head coach. He has never been a head coach in the NFL. And then Mike Vrabel himself is the first-year head coach for the New England Patriots, turning that ship around very, very quickly. Now, he was a head coach with Tennessee Titans. He was doing very well, and then for some reason they got rid of him. I don't know why, but in this section, we are saying that one of these mics might make history. They might make history. So, in this Super Bowl era, only two first-year head coaches have won it all in their first season. Super Bowl 5, Don McCafferty was a rookie head coach. He won it with the Baltimore Colts. And then in Super Bowl, what is that, 24? In Super Bowl 24, George Stiefert, the first-year head coach, won it with the San Francisco 49ers. So, if things are looking the way they're looking with the absolutely dominant Seahawks, possibly moving into the Super Bowl, and the New England Patriots taking on a Bo Nix-less Denver Broncos, we could definitely see some history being made. But which one of these mics makes history? We'll find out in a few weeks. Finally, the coaching carousel has come back around. That's right. As you all know, there have been so many firings in the NFL in terms of head coaches. So let's quickly go through all of them. I'm not going to go through the fired GMs and coordinators as heavily, but we'll do a quick dive into these head coaches who got fired. So Sean McDermott was the most recent head coach firing. His record with the Bills was 106-58. In the postseason with the Bills, he is 8-8. So obviously ownership thinking that the Bills really need to be able to make that jump. You've got the reigning MVP right now, absolutely supermaning throughout the whole season, and then they come up short against that Broncos team. So head coach Sean McDermott is out, just like their stadium, as that thing has expired. Moving on to Mike McDaniel, sorry, for the Miami Dolphins. He was fired as the head coach. He was 35-35. He was 0-2 in the postseason, and he has actually been hired right now as the Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator. He does come from an offensive coordinator role before he was with the 49ers, I think, with the Dolphins, sorry. I think he was with the 49ers with Matt Shanahan. But he's going back into that role, and it's probably a very good thing for him. We'll see what happens with the Los Angeles Chargers, who could not get over that playoff hump as well this season. He is replacing Greg Roman for the Chargers. I don't have too much data on Greg Roman, but that's what's happening. Next up, we've got John Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens. He was let go, 193-124 record with a Super Bowl win. He is 13-11 in the postseason, but with Lamar Jackson, he's 2-6 in the postseason, and you can definitely argue that that offense with Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, I think they even still have DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Jackson. Man, you really should have gone more than 2-6 with Lamar. Now, just a little side note, one of those losses was with Huntley. Huntley was playing for the game as Lamar Jackson did injure himself during one of their postseason runs. And again, he is a Super Bowl 47 winner, in which he defeated his brother, Jim Harbaugh, who was coaching the Niners at the time. I remember watching that one. Next up, we've got head coach Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals. They have decided to fire him. I didn't write down any stats for Gannon. Don't know why. Either way, he went 15-36. I think he was screwed a little bit with Kyler Murray as the quarterback, and then ownership or the GM probably wanting to stick with stick with him for a long time because they did spend a very high draft pick on him. But anyway, there is a vacancy in Arizona. Pete Carroll was the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks for the longest time, has been a head coach and part of football for longer than you and I have been alive. He did go 3-14 this season with the Raiders. They did not think that was good enough. He is 184, 145, and 1 in his career, so he is a winning coach. There was just no QB stability in Raiders this season, but they probably should have done a bit better. He is a Super Bowl winning coach as well, Super Bowl 48, where the Seattle Seahawks destroyed Denver 43-8. I remember watching that game as well. Yeah, that was an absolutely dominated game. I don't know what to say about that one. And then they went to the Super Bowl the next year, where they had that pivotal loss to the New England Patriots with that huge goal line interception. Now, Kevin Stefanski, 2-time head coach of the year winner. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. He is 46-58 with the Browns. First-time head coach gig there as well. He is 1-2 in the postseason, so he did bring the Browns their first postseason win in 26 years. But Baker Mayfield did that. I don't know why the league thinks this guy is so good. He has been hired to be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Look, the guy tried to, destroy Baker Mayfield's arm. The guy had a broken shoulder, and Stefanski made him throw the ball 40 times in a game while not having one of the league's best running backs in the game. It was absolutely crazy. Head coach malpractice. Sporting malpractice. Either way, he's got another head coaching job. Not a fan of it. I think the Falcons continue to be a little bit of a shit show. Stefanski probably survives there for maybe 2 years. Ownership in Atlanta is terrible. Terrible, I gotta say. President of football has been hired, and that's Matt Ryan, their former quarterback. I just don't see this thing turning around very good. They do have an extremely talented roster though, so it's a shame to see those young men's career be marred by another bad head coach hiring. But we'll delve into this in the future. If you want to check out, or at least do a recap of the head coaching changes that happened in the last offseason, how they panned out, and what I predicted for them, go check an earlier episode of The Shaun Show. I did kind of hit on most of those, so kind of worth watching. And buckle your seatbelts for the next one, because it's going to be a big one. Look at all those head coaches. Next up, Raheem Morris has been fired by the Atlanta Falcons. As we know, Stefanski is now the coach. Raheem Morris does leave behind the talented roster. He went 16-18 in his 2 seasons there. Not very good. Not very good. I think he's a former player as well. Then Brian Daboll for the Giants has also been fired. This was can't remember if it was toward the end of the season or if it was after the season. Either way, he went 21-41-1 with that absolutely timeless franchise. He's 1-1 in the postseason, and he has won Coach of the Year once in his history, so that's something to keep an eye out for. I think he's going to be a front runner for some of the jobs out there this year. Don't believe he's been hired just yet, though. Now, the final head coach firing, Brian Daboll and Callahan, actually did happen during the season. Brian Callahan with the Tennessee Titans, 4-19 over his 2 seasons there. He's gone. The team got better mid-season after he was fired, so that's interesting to see. I don't know if he's going to be out for a head coaching job this year. I just don't think going 4-19 is really good for your resume. Yeah. That's another nice looking roster in the AFC South. A little bit of work will need to be done to turn that ship around. But in his stead, Robert Saleh has been hired. This is his second head coaching tenure. He did have a stint with the Jets that did not work out. And then, they got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers did the Achilles. Saleh did a little bit of work with the Browns, and he went back to the Niners. They had their season this season. Very good defense, but now he is going to the Titans. See if he can instill some hardcore culture in that place and turn shit around. The final head coach Actually, let's go to the GMs and the coordinators. So, Eagles, Chargers, Tampa, Lions, Raiders have all gotten rid of their offensive coordinators. Chip Kelly lasted there for 1 season. Josh Morton was the offensive coordinator with the Lions for 1 season. Obviously, Ben Johnson vacating that position and moving to the Bears. Guess it didn't work out for Josh Morton. Then the OC, Josh Grizzard with the Buccaneers, only lasting 1 year. Obviously, that position was vacated last season by Liam Cohen. Josh Grizzard not being able to pull through. I think he got screwed a little bit because that offense was very, very banged up this season. Probably didn't get the best run of things, but in the end, they did lose to the 2 bottom teams in the NFC South, and I do believe they went on a lose streak as well. So let's go Tampa. Let's go Tampa. Hopefully they figure out a new offensive coordinator. OC Greg Roman for the Chargers is gone. We already talked about that. Mike McDaniel taking that role now. And then Kevin Patullo for the Eagles also being fired. That offense did not look like it did the previous seasons. There's been some disdain in the locker room, but there's always drama there in Philly, despite them just winning. We'll see what happens next season if they can get an exciting play caller to get that O-line humming, get that Saquon running, and get that ball flying. Defensive coordinators Matt Eberflus for the Cowboys is gone. Steve Wilkes is also gone for the Jets, and Shane Bowen for the Jets is gone. 3 pretty bad defenses right there, gotta say. Then on the GM front, you've got the Atlanta Falcons. Did clear house getting rid of Terry Fontenot. I think he built a pretty strong roster there. But, you know, changes change. And then Chris Greer for the Dolphins also with his contract malpractice, seemingly. They did double down on Tua. They gave him a lot of money, and then they did go away from him this season because he did regress. Now, there were 2 other coaching candidates that did leave their positions. Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator for the Commanders, former head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, actually. They have decided to part ways. I do believe the GM and ownership and the coaching staff, head coach, did say, look, we're looking to go in a different direction with our offensive scheme, and they just mutually decided to split ways. So Cliff Kingsbury must be up for one of these jobs in the near future. And then Mike Macdonald has stepped down as the Steelers head coach. This happened after their playoff loss. Stepping down, it does 2 things for Mike Tomlin. One, he gets to, leave on his own terms, and 2, it opens the door for a trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he did say that if anybody wants them, they can compensate the Steelers accordingly. And now we'll go over to the quick hirings right now. So John Harbaugh has been hired as the head coach for the New York Giants. I think this is good. We will delve into this a little bit deeper. Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart, ballers on the offense, and then you got Malik Neighbors, who's a dog as well. So you do have your triplets set up. In his press conference, he did say that he wanted football guys who just loved football, because they are a football team that play football. They love football, and they're gonna do football. So if you don't like football, you are not welcome in that Giants locker room. I think he turns things around. Now, there was a little clause in his contract that says that he gets the final say, or at least he gets a very weighted say when it comes to roster moves and things like that. The GM, his little interview was a little interesting, because while he did agree to the terms, he did seem to not be backing down from the statement, and he was saying, look, we have to work together. That it is what it is, but we're going to work together. So I feel like if things don't work, it's probably because of the GM being a little bit stubborn on things. Sure, the head coach shouldn't have all the responsibility, as he's not in charge of contracts and doesn't really manage the salary cap and things like that. So there is a little nuance there, which the GM needs to navigate, and also he needs to build the team. But the head coach is the one coaching the team, so final say for John Harbaugh, Super Bowl winning coach. I think it's a good move. I just don't think the GM's going to cooperate, so we'll probably see that come through. Head coach Kevin Stefanski with the Falcons. I've already talked about this. I really don't like it. I don't like Kevin Stefanski as a head coach. I don't think this is a good move by the Atlanta Falcons. We'll delve into it a bit deeper in the future. Then we have the Tennessee Titans picking up Robert Saleh, which I did mention. The last times the Titans had a good coach was Mike Vrabel, who moved over to the Patriots after the Tennessee Titans got rid of him for some reason. Don't know. Yeah, he is a hard-nosed coach like Mike Vrabel. I think he's going to instill some strong culture in there, get some things turned around. It is his second time as a head coach, so he has learned from his failings with the Jets. He did say that he wants to stay connected to the team, so he will be calling defensive plays this time around. I think this bodes well for the Tennessee Titans. And they just need to get an offensive coordinator under their belt, and I think things can start moving really kind of smoothly. We'll go into their cap space situation when we do the full-on coaching carousel breakdown, the openings, and what I think of the hirings. Then finally, the Miami Dolphins have hired Jeff Hafley. This one hurts me a little bit, being a Packers fan. I really didn't want Jeff Hafley to leave. Amazing coach. Amazing press conference guy. I love listening to this guy's press conferences. If you get a chance, go and listen to him. The guy is amazing. I would have liked to see maybe Jeff Hafley become the Green Bay Packers head coach. If Matt LaFleur would have been happy taking an offensive coordinator role for a season, it would have been a really weird situation though. This really puts a little downer on the start of the offseason as a Packers fan, because it is a massive loss losing Jeff Hafley. Our defense is not going to be the same next season. It's probably going to have a massive downtick. I really do think this hurts the Packers' chance of winning a Super Bowl, and it's disappointing to me. It is very disappointing to me, but I think this is very good for the Miami Dolphins. I think this is very, very good. Their defense needs an improvement because it was terrible last season. He gets an okay roster on the defensive side. He gets a lot of explosive playmakers on the offensive side. So we'll see what happens with their offensive coordinator, head coach hiring. They've also hired a new general manager as well, John Eric Sullivan. We'll go over all of the details in a future video. But guys, that was the Sean Show episode 23. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of coaching news today. Again, we will dive deeper. It's the stuff I love. And we'll talk about who we think is going to be poised well for the future. Now, bear in mind that these coaching positions will need to be filled fairly quickly. The off-season is upon us, but that does mean that free agency opens up. That does mean that preparing for the draft is a big portion of the off-season. Going over the roster, these new head coaches will likely want to interview candidates for their coordinator roles. There's going to be a lot of clearing house. So this video will come sooner than later, essentially. So expect some big coaching news in the coming weeks. At least I assume that most of these head coaching positions will be wrapped up by the time the Super Bowl comes around. Obviously, there might be some coaches in those two teams that do make it to the big game that will be looking at coaching positions themselves, so they will likely not all be filled by the time the Super Bowl hits us, but very shortly after that, at least they should all be filled. Now, guys, that was the Sean Show, Season 2, Episode 23. If you like the show, hey, give it a sub. Give me a sub, give it a like, drop a comment. Which head coach hiring or position do you like the most? Do you like any of the head coach hirings that have happened so far? Give me a buzz. Give me something to talk about in the next episode. And yeah, I'll catch you guys at the end of the week, where we'll go over the preview for the championship games, AFC Championship game, Denver Broncos hosting the New England Patriots, and the NFC Championship game, the Seattle Seahawks hosting the LA Rams. And again, as usual, we will have a couple of bets on to share with you. So have a great evening, guys. Have a great day, depending on the world you are. Enjoy the football this weekend, but I'll be talking to you before then. Let me know who you think's going to win these championship games, who's going to the Super Bowl. I'll catch you this weekend. Peace out. And sub. Remember to sub. Or don't. Later.